So you think you want to do a nut and bolt restoration on your car, in particular 1968 Firebird. Been working on this. If you've been following along, you know we've been getting into working on it. Got the underbody painted, did a bunch of sandblasting. And what I've been doing here for the last few weeks, because keep in mind, I only place aside maybe 8 hours a week, if that sometimes, to try to work on this stuff. It consumes a lot of time to sandblast, prime, and paint. Move parts over, sandblast, prime, and paint, because we're only working about half of a garage. We don't have a huge paint booth. I don't have a huge shop, so it's a little bit of a slow process, let's call it that, right? But I've made some progress with that. You see all kinds of pieces, parts here on the floor. Now, of course, that's not even half of it. That doesn't even explain to you the amount of time I've spent on the computer or on my phone trying to find the pricing or the best location, availability, because back order is a problem. Not as bad as it used to be, thank goodness. But that used to be a concern when you're talking 3 or 4 months on a part that you need yesterday. You got to keep shopping around. So I still do the same thing, try to find the best price for the parts, not junk parts, but decent parts, the best we have to work with. I understand they're not original equipment or, new old stock kind of stuff. I ain't that kind of money rich. We're going to try to put this thing all together. So I wanted to kind of touch base, get inside your head the things you may not realize when you think you may want to conquer stuff like this, behind the scenes things that need to be done before you can even think about putting it back together. How about we start with this pile of stuff? That's what we're going to call it, stuff. And I've got boxes clear over there and there. I haven't even put it into this pile. I have a fuel tank straps, fuel sending unit, and some of the stuff hasn't even arrived. I have spent nearly $4,000 in parts. So before you have sticker shock and fly your seat and say, what the heck? I want you to keep in mind, my dad wants air conditioning. So that vintage air kit is now nearly $2,300 shipped to your doorstep, all complete kit for a Pontiac. Yikes, that's nearly $1,000 more than I paid for the Trans Marado 6 years ago. So put that in your mind when you're ordering this stuff. It got a little expensive. So be mindful of what you're buying, I guess. Try to reuse as much as possible, but sometimes you just got to put some parts on it. So again, let me get back to showing you what all we buy. Front springs, control arm bushings, tie rod ends. I got some stuff for that. idle arm, pitman arm isn't here yet. Got the control arm is disassembled, sandblasted, and painted. Same as the spindles. Got the knuckles sandblasted, painted, and partially reassembled. Rear spring components and shackles there. Everything ready to go install our rear axle once we get that assembled with all new brakes. Would you look at that? Shoes, drums, hardware, wheel cylinders. Brake pedal assembly has been media blasted. Clear coated this piece here so it kind of keeps that raw steel look. I like the look of that. Lower control arms, those are original. Sandblasted. Bushings removed and the ball joints removed, ready to press in the new ones. Our subframe, you watched that probably like one of the last videos we did here, painting this thing, a big undertaking. I'm going to say it on this video and probably 2 more videos. Get the brake line that goes side to side and the fuel line and mount it in there before you permanently mount your engine mounts. It's a whole lot easier to fish those through there. I try to tell people that and they go, hey John, how do I get that brake line through there? Did you do it before you put the mounts in? No. Well, then you got to take the mounts apart or bend the crap out of it. So again, please make note, install brake line and fuel line before assembling your engine mounts all the way. You'll be loving it. That doesn't go to the car, that goes to me. Rear axle transmission, I'm going to send that out. That is the original numbers matching to this car. It's a ST300. Some people call them power glides, but they aren't exactly power glides, but similar. Just a 2-speed, but we're going to have that rebuilt. I'm going to put that back in the car. I had this axle housing sandblasted. I was test fitting the brake lines, and surprise, they don't fit that well. They're going to need a little tweaking, but something I made an observation of. I got back from the media blaster. This axle no longer spins. It kind of twists the yoke there a little bit. I can spin the yoke just fine. And the other side, you can see it over there, it spins fine, but this side, dead to the world. So something is seized up, and my guess is it has to be the bearing because that spins fine. So I wonder if somehow when they media blast it, if the seal is bad, and I packed that bearing full of sand. So maybe we'll get into that. But anyway, now I have more parts that you don't see. Like I said, the fuel tank, fuel sending unit. I had all the brake line kit, fuel line kit. Brake line kits, it's one of those boxes. Several different kits that can get confusing. I would suggest contacting a manufacturer of your brake line kit and confirm it's for what you need. Not just the year, make, and model, but was the car originally equipped with drum brakes and changed over to disc brake or even 4-wheel disc brake? And if it is, are you going back to original brake caliper master cylinder or the new modernized proportioning valve? That's what makes the difference. So can get a little confusing on which way to go. You don't want to order the wrong brake kit because it's expensive to ship it back. Or say you went ahead and mounted it in like I told you to, and then you got to find a way to get it out of there or modify it to make it work. So, any questions, ask me, ask the manufacturer. I'll see what I can do to help you. Just something to keep in mind when trying to get all these parts. So, I now have to work on assembling all this subframe. This is way more than one video's worth. I just want to kind of show you some of the chaos, some of the things that's going on, and get you up to speed. I've been working on this, but sandblasting and painting for the last few weeks, not exactly the most exciting thing, and I only have so much time in a given week. So now I should be able to start assembling all this and showing you how that's done and keeping some videos coming your way. But I think before we get out of here this go around, I'm gonna pull that axle out and see why she don't turn. Now, for those who know, you know, when it comes to Pontiac, to pull an axle out, you don't gotta pop the diff cover and do no C-clips. Got no C-clips. You just take the nuts loose. Pretty simple, right? In the world of everything working right, it's actually pretty easy, but by the way, this doesn't spin. So normally you take a socket and you go ahead and line up, spin around, line up your axle hole there, and take your nut off. Well, that's great for one. The other three, gonna do the old slow motion way. You're gonna have to wrench those things out. So might as well take advantage and do the easy way. And that's it. That's all we get. And the rest of them, oh, my ratchet is not no good. Yikes! I'll get some with a bigger handle. Yep. Huh. I'm gonna get my bigger ratchet. All right, there's 4 out of 4. Get something more to hit that with. Motivational tool. Well, you don't say. This is what happens when you buy a rusty car. They have problems. Huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Huh. I don't know. You know, this is kind of cool. After beating it a little bit, it moves, but it feels horrible. Pretty confident this outer bearing. I'm thinking there's this hole the wheel cylinder lines up in. Clock that right. Get a big punch and maybe hit the back of the axle this way. Knock that thing loose, but I've never fought one like this. We'll see what I can find for a motivational tool. I'm not suggesting use a chunk of all thread, but I'm going to use a chunk of all thread. That's all I can find here at home. Again, we're going to rest that up against the back of the axle and just see what happens. Yikes. Hey, hallelujah. You know, sometimes you got to work for it. All right. Oh, yeah, that bearing's garbage. Let me show you. Look at this here. The amount of rust that's in here. This poor car, I tell you what. That's the other thing I guess I'm thinking about it. Put a shiny coat of paint on a piece of junk and it looks nice, but what's really on the inside, what's going to matter? I wonder what the fluid looks like. Well, there's some gear oil there, but there's some sludge in it. Definitely need to change out the axle fluid. And I'm kind of questioning now the bearing on the other end of the axle. It spins freely, but if this side's this bad, look, I can barely, here. Yeah, that bearing is no good. So, fortunately, I got a bearing. I was thinking ahead, and for those who need to know, there's your part number for the bearing. That'll come with a new bearing and that pressed on sleeve right here that needs to be replaced because you have to remove this. It's one-time use only if you've never done one of these, but new bearing, that's the sealed bearing, it's already greased, and you press this on, that's what holds the axle together. So now, I know what the problem is, I'll work on cutting that off. I got some videos on doing axle bearings and stuff in the past, so I don't think I need to do that again, but I want to know why it was seized up. Well, one more thing I want to leave you before we bounce out of here. Broken studs. Simple as right here, there, And right here, we'll put a new one in right quick. And it's time to be a carpenter. Wow, you little devil. Oh, whatever, it's out of there. New one, check. A little grease on the threads. Won't hurt it at all. Boop, boop. And we'll do a little bit. I'm gonna put the nut flat face towards the hub. So we're gonna put a little thread lube here on the face of the nut. Put that in like so. And again, the tapered edge we're gonna leave facing outwards. So this is backwards to how you would put it on if you're putting the wheel on. And we'll let this thing do all the work. Now, as you watch, y'all, watch that stud pull into the hub. Okay. Ta-da! Now we have 5 matching studs. Right, as a quick suggestion, running stuff like that, keep a notepad and some paper, notepad and a pen around so you can keep notes on what is going on. Because I kind of planned for one wheel bearing, but I feel that one, now I got that one loose, I almost think it's not 100%. And judging by the rust and corrosion that in, I would be silly not to replace that now while it's a whole lot easier. So, and we're going to drain the fluid. So I need to add 80-90 gear oil, differential cover gasket, the other bearing, etc. And then I also realized when I was doing the inventory on the front bits, the rotors aren't here yet, but I have spindles, but I don't have seals or the dust cap. So again, make little notes to save yourself that headache, because all of a sudden you get to the point you need that rotor seal and you don't have it, screeching halt. Not that you can't go find one, but that's time away. But maybe you can do it in one pass and save time, because that's the thing about working in a small space like here. Time management and space management. You really got to be wise. You're staying on top of that stuff. So I'm going to get some more pieces for the rear of the car, but I guess as you can see, most of the stuff laid out here, some of it isn't, but we're going to work on addressing everything on the underbody, assembling the subframe, assembling the rear axle, doing the brakes, everything. Now there are some things I'm going to highlight, but if anything in particular you would like to see, let me know in the comments. Or I may have done a video in the past, but that's okay. I will do it again and share with you, because heck, I like doing this stuff. Sharing the story and the progress and showing you what can be done in our little space that we're making it happen in. So that's a quick update. What's happening in the Vinyl Village garage, what's happening to Project Lamborghini, and the weather. Look at my forehead. That is not saturated with sweat because it finally cooled down. So that's going to help me out immensely and keep me motivated and sharing these videos with you just the same. So, and a huge thanks for watching, subscribing. Please share with your friends that we might find this stuff informational. I was trying to say entertainment and informational together. Entertainment, whatever, it doesn't exist. That's what we're going to do here in the little Vinyl Village garage. So appreciate you following me, and we'll catch you all next time.